Hey folks, how you doing? Do you know where I am? That's the Green Isle, or the Garden Isle some people call it, the Isle of Lismore. I'm on the coast obviously, that's the sea behind me. I'm halfway between Port Appin in that direction and Connell or Oban in that direction. It's a wee bit breezy. Oh, I'm on an incoming tide. I got pushed in here past the wee islands. Got some camping gear, going to set up camp. There's a wee promontory here. So, excuse me shouting again, but it's a bit breezy. So let's go. Let's get a camp set up for the night. I've got a wee bit of fishing gear with me. We'll see what the weather's doing, what the tides are like. It's high tide at about 11 o'clock tonight, so that'll be good fishing if I can stay awake. Anyway, I'm here for the camping. And we might have a cast or two. Let's go. Hey, it's a grand evening. This is my chosen spot for camping tonight. I brought the boat up on an incoming tide and there's a reasonable surge. You probably don't see it very much on the camera, but when I was paddling in I was getting pushed in quite quickly. It's not a super high tide tonight, but I'll bring the boat up because I've got to set up camp now and I better have something to eat as well. It's getting quite late. This trip was really just on the fly. I always keep an eye on the Met Office charts and the weather forecast, and I noticed that there was a spell of reasonable weather. It's a wee bit breezy, not ideal for solo kayaking to be honest, but I haven't been too far out. But these showers are moving on the breeze, they're passing through quite quickly. So that's a bonus. And I think the breeze is keeping the midges away, and I'm right on the coast. So I've got a reasonable chance of a nice camp tonight. And like I say, I've got one or two bits of fishing gear with me, so we might try a cast or two when the tide comes in. So I'm going to turn the camera around so it's pointing away from the wind. I can see the microphone shaking. So I'm hoping that you can hear this. So we'll get camp set up. I've got a different tent tonight, so something else to show you. And then we'll grab a bite to eat, and then we'll just see what the evening brings. Oh, let's get cracking. So this is, it's not a super remote spot. There's houses dotted up and down this coastline. In fact, there's a house over there, but it's on the island of Lismore, so I'm not going to bother them and they're not going to bother me. definitely have a preference for freestanding tents. I like the fact that you can pick it up and drop it where you want. So just the way I've erected that, the door's facing that way, but I think I want the wind blowing in the door so that if I'm sitting enjoying the view, I'm getting the breeze in my face, which will keep the midges away. Well folks, it's raining pretty hard. I've got a dry suit on inside my tent. That's an indication of how bad the weather is. I'm just too lazy to take it off. Yeah, it's raining quite hard just now, so I'm going to have to zip up the fly. This tent's kind of small to have the camera inside. Shall I give it a go? Let you see what the accommodation is like for tonight. It's raining hard. I'd like to say it's a wee shower, but looking across over the top of Lismore to the island of Mull, I can see the hills. And well, actually I can't see the hills. I could see them this afternoon when I was paddling down the sea, looking across on my right, but they're all socked in with low cloud and mist now, and the weather's coming that way, so I hope there's not going to be a night sitting in the tent. I'm not up for that. I'm going to go out anyway, doesn't matter what the weather's doing. So this is it, it's just a tiny wee tent. I've got that really luxurious sleeping mat, but the downside of it is I'm quite tall, I'm 6'2", and wee bivvy tents are always a problem for me because there's never enough headroom, and this has just about got enough headroom if I sleep on a thin mat. But this big cushioned thick mat raises me up quite a lot, so anyhow, I'm not complaining. I've got comfort tonight. I had a big lunch on the way up the road, so that's my dinner. I've got a sandwich for my dinner and some nuts. I do actually have a little stove with me, my wee pocket rocket and a wee gas canister, so I can get a cup of tea on the go. Love listening to the birds. Sounds like it's saying go back, go back, go back, go back, go back. Too late now, I'm here. After my Loch Shield trip, I had another wee while in the outdoors, but I didn't film anymore. My plan actually was to do a wee bit of filming on Loch Linnhe, and I camped by Loch Linnhe, put the boat in the water and stuff, but man, the weather was bad. The conditions on the water were okay, it wasn't particularly difficult paddling, but it was just hammering down with rain and you couldn't see anything. So I decided to cut my losses and run for home. And actually at home I had a wee bit of reasonable weather, managed to get the grass cut, a wee bit gardening done. So I think what I'm going to do, sit out this rain. It's quite late now. Oh, I can't see my watch, my dry suit, it's too tight. And I sit out the rain, have a bite to eat, and then fingers crossed that we get some dry weather this evening for a wee bit of fishing or a bit of paddling or a bit of something. There's not much of a video to be made for YouTube and sitting in a tent listening to the rain, listening to me blethering on all night. I'm going to switch the camera off and I'm going to have a wee bite to eat. I'll get back with you soon. A lovely wee pool out there, but the tide's still running a wee bit fast. I don't want to put the boat in the water just now. So what about we go and take a hike? There's an arch, a natural arch somewhere in there, and if I can find a wee track to get inland a little bit, and I think there's one not far from where the tent is, then we might be able to find it. Shall we go and do that while we're waiting on the tide settling down? Let's go. That's one thing hiking in a dry suit. The weather doesn't really matter. That pool that I showed you, just as I was leaving, a seal popped up right in the middle of it. Might not be quite so good for the fishing after all. We're going to go down past the tent and in through the bracken and see if we can find that track. Quite a lot of my tents are red, and there's a reason for that, because when I set up a base and then I'm away exploring the hills, especially when I was working overseas, when I was in the Himalaya, coming down in the gloaming, looking for a green tent and a green landscape would be quite difficult. So I was always quite keen on orange and red tents or yellow tents so that I could spot it from a distance. But for a wee stealth camp, this tent is just grand. Anyway, let's go see if we can find this arch. There's a few midges up here in the bracken, but they're not bad at all. Nothing compared with rock shale. I'm down at the coast where I'm camping. I'm only just above sea level. There's a bit of breeze and no bother there at all. Isn't it bonny? Birch, rowan, heather. Not so keen on the rhododendron, but in fact it does actually add to the view. I think the arch is round here. Glorious, eh? You know, I don't think that that's a sea arch, even though we're only several hundred meters away from the sea. I think it's a geological fault. I'll have to check that. I'll have to ask Mr. Google when I get home. But I think that's what it is. I think it's a geological fault rather than a sea arch. Might be wrong. Don't take my word for it. We just come down to check the sea state. she's running hard. Not particularly dangerous for paddling or anything, just difficult to paddle and fish at the same time. I'll have to wait a while yet if I want to do a cast or two. I could go out there and have a bit of fun, but I would just be paddling, I wouldn't be fishing. Spot there that might be worth trying a cast from the shore. Okay, the midges are troubling me, I'm afraid. I keep a midge net inside my hat. Just for occasions like this. I tuck it in a wee bit though, because otherwise they just come up underneath. They're persistent. Is that a good look? It's probably better, you can't see my face now. Oh, I'll throw the camera in the water. That wouldn't be good. Right, get out the way. Oh, what's this we've got? A wee pollock. Oh, you're gone. Well, I'm glad I got a fish for you. Right, I think this will do me. Try and encourage the boat to spin that way. I don't know if this is a fish or not. It's not fighting very much. Oh, it's a wee fish, that's why it's not fighting very much. There you are. Another wee pollock. What's the chances of catching a big pollock? That would be nice. The fish are biting. Go back, go back, go back, go back. No. Go back yourself. I think I could probably lose this midge net out here. I'd see better what I'm doing. This reel's not running very smooth. Lack of maintenance. That'll be what it is. Oh, my pal the seal's back again. Paddle against the tide again for 5 minutes and then we'll drift back down, hit the cast, and then we'll call it a night, I think. It's so dark now. I'm still wondering if that's been spoolard I can see up there. Right, I'm going to try this rod. I'm intrigued by what rose just over there, not more than 100 metres away. Quite close in. I didn't see a head, I just saw a hump. Ah, it's a seal, there it is there. See if I can, oh, it's a pity I've got the lure in the water. The seal is following me. I've never known a seal to take a lure, so let tonight not be the first time, because it'll haul me straight into the water. He's getting closer. I think it's a big dog seal. Where are you? You're freaking me out, seal. I was paddling and fishing up at Kayak a couple of years ago, and I had what I thought was a solitary seal following me around. It was a male and a female, and then they popped up one on either side of me, so I had a heart attack. So the power's gone out of the drift now, I'm drifting slowly. Tiny wee fish chasing that lure. Goodness knows what it thought it was going to do. Oh, there's fish about. Where am I? Drifted a bit. Right, one more cast in this direction and then I need to reposition. I got a good bite there. It was a hit, and it didn't take it. Fish on. Is it going to stay on this time? It's not very powerful. It's not a big fish. Come on, let me see what you are. Oh, that's not a bad size. Oh, stay there. Quite slippery, these fish. Is it big enough for a bit of breakfast, do you think? It's fighting, I'll let it go. Might regret that, No, actually I've not got very much for my breakfast. Where am I? Okay, let's see, where are we going to try? I'm going to try that way. Oh, well, this might be a better fish, or maybe just a bit more spirited. Let me see. What have we got here? And you come, wherever you are. I've got a, can you see that? It's so dark you can't really see anything. I've got a decent sized pollock there. So that'll do me for breakfast, because I've not got very much for my breakfast. So the only problem is I've got to clean it now and prepare it before I go to my bed, so it's pretty late. When I was out on the water, the geese were flying by, and I think they were messing with me actually. They were just parting around me, and they were about head high above the water, and I was sitting down, so they were I could have touched them. They were flying past. So I was hoping that while I film this wee piece, while I'm showing you my fish, that some more might come across. Anyway, I don't know why I'm crouching down. It's because I've not got the camera set up very well. I'm trying to get as much of the background light as possible, so I don't know if any of this footage is going to be usable, but I'll get this fish cleaned and then we'll get back with you probably in the morning, folks. Good night. Morning, folks. I'll clip this back. What a glorious morning. It was cold last night. There's a heavy dew. There's a wee bit condensation in the tent, but this is dew. When I came off the water at about 11:30 last night, it felt very close to a frost, to be honest. Don't know what the temperature dropped to. Anyway, it's not cold now. It's quite hot in the tent. Been woken up by geese at about 5 o'clock this morning, and then I dropped off to sleep again, and then there were some sheep. I think it was sheep. There was something grazing here anyway, and they jumped over and hit my boat. I heard the rattle. So it's about 7:15 now. Shall I take you down and show you the coast? It's a bonny morning. And wee wisps of cloud sitting above the loch there. Sea loch, that's the sea. Excuse me drinking out the kettle. It's getting a bit warm. Put a layer of sunscreen on. I'm just thinking with this temperature rising, I caught that fish at about 11:30 last night, and it'll be getting a bit warm. I've got it in the shade there, but do you think we should cook it up? That might be good, eh? I had a wee walk down the coast after my breakfast, but I've just been wandering around and ambling about. Not much exercise, taking it easy this morning. It's an incoming tide, but the tide is running a bit hard just now. I don't want to paddle just now. It's a bit too much hard work, although I'm going with the tide, but it's still work when you're in such strong moving water, so I want to leave it for a wee while. So I think we'll cook up that fish. I'll have a second breakfast or a very early lunch. Brunch, is that what they call it? Can you have brunch when you've already had breakfast? Don't think there's any rules, are there? Well, I've got my Bush Buddy stove on the go. Filling the tent with smoke. I'm going to see if I've got some fish batter someplace. Keep that tent zipped up. Keep the smoke out. I don't know if you can see that the stove's perched on some rocks there. Somebody's had a fire there, but I don't like that. I don't like burning this sea-washed turf. It's not necessary. Anyhow, I'm not moaning. It's not what I intend to do with these videos. I'm just out for fun. And I hope you get some fun from it too. I prefer making this batter mix with some eggs. It gives it a much better flavour, better texture. I think I maybe need a wee touch more batter mix, it's a bit thin. What's my fire doing? Too bad. That'll flip over now. Is it done on that side? Just about. Popcorn fish. Wee fish bites. I need to go and cut myself a pair of chopsticks. I've only got one spoon with me. Shall I do that while my fish is cooling down? Looks a bit hot just now anyway. I've still got a wee bit of batter left and there's a midge falling in it. I don't think I'm going to try battered midge. Getting quite warm. You lose a layer, I think. Need to get my hat on the go. Sun off my head. I better remember to put my midge net back in my hat. There we are. There's a wee pocket in these hats. It's got a wee float in it. So if it gets blown off when you're paddling, you don't lose your hat, it floats. There we are. Hopefully won't need that for a while. Time to do the washing up. There's no shortage of this stuff in Scotland. Sphagnum moss, and it's just absolutely perfect. For cleaning out your pots and pans. Time to get packed up. My tent's nice and dry. I'm pleased about that. There we go. Just need to get the boat loaded up and we're almost good to go. High tide is still about just under an hour away, so perfect paddling conditions, hopefully. Well, that's me good to go. My dry bag clipped in. I've kept one fishing rod out. I may try a cast or two on the way back. Looks like I've got that camera sitting at an angle. Sorry about that, folks, maybe if I lean over. So, we'll get the boat in the water, start the journey home. This is going to be the most enjoyable part of the journey by a long way. Gentle paddle on flat calm seas. I'm trying a different camera angle with the GoPro. See if it's any better. Let me take you in a little bit towards the shore. Show you the bottom. Just have to watch I don't get hung up on the weeds. It's too deep to get out. I don't know if the camera's picking any of this up. I don't have a tremendous distance to paddle, but I want to get the paddling done before the tide turns. Otherwise, I'll be having a hard time of it. Can you see my feet? Sorry about that. This rocky shoreline, it's not easy to pull out, so I put the camera here beside my knees so that I can grab it and turn it. If it's away down on the point of the boat, it's not easy to get a hold of it. sun in your eye there. Spin you around a bit as we look at the view. That better. See a smudge on that lens too. Don't have anything to wipe it with. Calm on the water. I've got that camera balanced very precariously, which you don't fall in. I'm making progress. Kilometre to go maybe. Thinking about having a cast or two before I go much further. What do you think? Trouble is, I don't really want to catch a fish. Oh, there's a jellyfish. Certainly don't want to catch that. They look shiny. It's my youthful exuberance. Okay, it's a suntan lotion. Sunscreen. Show my age calling it suntan lotion. It's my factor 50 sunblock. There's another jellyfish. Let me see if I can stabilise you a wee bit so you're not going to fall in. Not better. I'm not sure that you can see very much with the sun in your eyes. We'll try a cast, shall we? I'm looking across Lismore to the Mull Hills. Ben Moor, the only Munro on Mull. The only island Munro outside Skye actually. My last Munro. Ben Moor on Mull. And a mucky wet day. I soloed it and I just felt I'd done so many of my Munros on my own, I just wanted to do the last one on my own as well. I was sitting there and I had a tiny wee bottle of champagne and a packet of Doritos and you couldn't see anything. The clag was well down. And this chap came along and he saw the champagne. And he asked, "Do you always have a bottle of champagne on every Munro?" And I said, no, just on this one. And he obviously realised it was the last one. I didn't have a camera with me. So the chap took a photograph for me, took my photo and my address, and he sent it to me. So I have a shot sitting by the cairn with my packet of Doritos. in the rain and the mist on my last Monroe. I think this is going to be my last cast. So folks, I'm back. Car park is just behind you. My van's up the hill a little bit. So I think I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thanks for joining me. Kayak and bivvy camp. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see if I can put some of the footage in from the fishing last night, but it was pretty dark and I did lose power on the GoPro eventually. I don't think it'll be too long before we're together again on the next adventure. I've got no real idea of what that'll be. Well, it depends on the weather really. But thanks for your company, it's much appreciated. And if you're enjoying the videos, think about hitting the subscribe button. So we'll get back to you again soon folks. Thanks again for viewing. Bye for now.